I know it's here somewhere. Finally. Oh, it's time for the doctor. You're listening to Dr. Bill, the computer curmudgeon. Take it away, Doctor.
Well, it's that time again, and the doctor is in. It's time once again for Dr. Bill, the computer curmudgeon. And today we have a very special program, and I'll warn you in advance, it's a long program. Long program. So, bear with me. Break it up into bite-sized chunks if you must. But listen to the whole program because you will enjoy it. Yes, indeedy. We are proud members of the Tech Podcast Network, techpodcast.com. If it's tech, it's right here on Dr. Bill, the Computer Curmudgeon. We are also proud members of the International Association of Internet Broadcasters. Yes, indeed. Because, after all, we broadcast over the internet internationally. I mean, how could we not be a member? Know what I mean? Okay, we have a long show today. This is not one of those little 5 or 10 minute shows. Not that I ever do any of those, come to think of it, but this is not one of the usual 20-minute shows either. And if I keep digressing, it'll get longer. So let's jump right into it. First of all, before I even get to the blog, of course, is drbill.tv, drbill.tv, as it says there on the lower third of the screen. Yes, I put that up there for you for your convenience. And for those of you that are listening to the Netcast via audio, it is drbill.tv, drbill.tv, as I said. If you are watching the video, you're going to be somewhat bored by the next segment. I'm just saying. This is a box. See this box? It's black. A black box against a black jacket. Kind of reminds me of Hitchhikers. Black buttons flashing black on a black background. Yes. Well, this is a box. And this box is an HD video, that's what it says right here, HD video capture card box. Now, some of you asked in the past tense, how did you do the Roku channel overview last time? You know, I mean, you weren't shooting the screen through your camera. No, I was using this little device. I'm getting some light glinting off of it, even though it's black. That's pretty cool. Anyway, it's not a lot of light, but you know what I mean. This box, let me open the box. This is an official unboxing, but not really because I've already unboxed it. So it's not like a regular unboxing where you wait until, everybody's watching before you unbox it. You have here a thank you card. I like thank you cards because it shows that the company in question has manners. Thank you for your recent purchase from our company. Isn't that sweet? That comes in there. Then you've got this little book here, which is the HD Video Capture Manual, in case you want to do it manually instead of automatically. No, I know what it means, manual. So you can read how to do stuff, which of course I didn't use at all. I don't read instructions. I muddle through. Anyway, this is a little tiny CD with software on it of some kind that I did not even open. Oh, it's got ArcSoft written on it. So I assumed it's ArcSoft software, which I don't use. I've never even opened that, even though I've opened this box before. Then we have the device in question, freshly rewrapped in plastic, just like it came from the factory. But I rewrapped it because I had to use it. I had to use this to do last week's show. Okay, so let's look at what all you've got here. That's a little out of focus. Probably will be a little out of focus because it's trying to focus on me instead of it. There we go. Let's make it focus on it. Will that work? I don't know. I'll tell you what, I'll hold it back here closer, and that way I can point things out. It has ports on it. Yes, it has a red button. We all like red buttons because we can push red buttons. Yes, if you see a red button, you just have to push it. It's just in your nature. Okay, and then on the back, we have more ports. Now, so I can see it, I'll get my glasses. That's 2 weeks in a row I got my glasses. Okay. Ah, see, this way I can read the port names. Yeah. Here we have an HDMI input. Here we have an HDMI output. See, it goes in and then it comes out. Now you might say, Dr. Bill, well, if it's going in and coming out, what does it accomplish? Well, I'll show you. This here is a power port upon which you connect the power connector, which is still in the box there. Okay, and then on the front, you have a mic jack. Now, this is cool because this very mic that I'm currently wearing, this is a, what is this? It's a Boya, B-O-Y-A, Boya lavalier mic, which I really like that mic. It's a good mic. My wife likes this mic because I bought it and I don't have to buy any more, and that's a good thing because I'm always buying mics. Tell you the truth, I buy mics even if I don't need them because I like to buy mics, but that's another story. Okay, but this mic works with this device perfectly. No noise, no fuzz, no background hum, no nothing. It's just really cool. So that mic jack right there is just a standard 1/8 inch mic jack. Then we have the USB host. Now the USB host is cool because if you take a standard USB stick like this little, you know, this is an 8 gig USB stick, which is what I use to record the video that comes off this little device. You plug that in there, and then with it hooked in line, you know what I mean by in line? In other words, the HDMI cable coming out of the Roku last week went into this box, and then the output HDMI went to the monitor here sitting in front of me. And then once I had the USB stick in here and started the demo, I could voice over with the mic jack, and then I could press the little red button there, and it would record. It goes blinky, blinky, and it records whatever goes through the HDMI cable. Both, check this out, both sound and video. Now, you just about can't beat that, dude. Now, you may be sitting there thinking to yourself, ooh, I can think of things I could do with that. Yes, you can. Think of all the things that output through HDMI. Like, oh, I don't know, games. Yes, that's what this is really designed for, is recording games while you're playing them so that you can play them across the interwebs to all of your rabid fans that want to see you beat the Mario Party. You know, or me playing Donkey Kong by just randomly pressing buttons and seeing him do very strange things. But I don't put those videos on YouTube because it's kind of weird and boring. And it's not my thing. It is potentially the thing of my son, the Game Master, so he's going to be borrowing this at various points. He had an old style one that was analog only, but this is digital. Yes, and that is very cool. Now, also, other forms of things you could conceivably record with this is any HDMI video and audio output, like, for instance, a TV show. Yes. So let's say you're using Popcorn Time and you're watching your video through your system. You could record whatever it is you're watching through this, and it would be like having a little impromptu DVR. I mean, that's pretty cool that you can do that with this little box. I mean, this one little box will do what a lot of different things would have to be purchased to do. Now, you couldn't set it up with like a timer and let it be a DVR like you would normally have on your TV, but you get the gist. It's, you know, it's for recording things in real time. And you might say, well, yeah, but Dr. Bill, how much can you record? You can record as much space as you have on your USB stick. okay? So that's good, but there's a caveat. See, there's always a caveat. Caveat's an interesting word. I think it has French roots. But anyway, caveat. And that is this. It breaks the files into 2 gig files, okay? So if you record longer than that 2 gig file is going to record, it will just keep recording and go to the next file and go to the next file. If you then splice them all together, then it is continuous. There's no hesitation between them. So it's not like you'd notice. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it stops and then you have to restart it and all that kind of stuff. It just goes to the next file automatically. Okay, now there's other things in the box. This is one of those boxes that has a false bottom. I like those kind of boxes because they're kind of mysterious. And particularly this one, it's a black box within a black box with black stuff in it. So, you know, you gotta love that. Now, look at this. You get a small, short HDMI cable with little plastic ends on it here to protect your HDMI cable. See, that's attention to detail. I like that in a company that they do that. That protects the cable. Now, this is a noisy plastic bag, but this has the power supply in it. Has a standard kind of round connector there, but this is the one that comes with it, and whew, that's it. That's all that's in the box. Nothing else in the box. Let's put it all back. You know, you got to take care of these things. See, I am meticulous about my hardware. I keep my hardware in the original boxes, lest at some point I might want to sell it or even give it away as an old tech giveaway. Except this is new tech, so I won't be giving this one away. This is new tech, and new to me at least, and is quite useful. Quite useful. So I'm putting it all back in here. Put all the documentation back in here. I'll drop that, but I'll get it after the show. No big deal. And put it back in the box, and now it's all back in the box. There you go. So we'll put that over there, and hopefully it won't fall. Okay. So good stuff. See, that took a little time right there. We're taking a lot of time today. But the next item is from the blog, the aforementioned drbill.tv. And this is going to be another long one. And that is this. There's a new email scam out. And this one was so innovative, so interesting, that I thought I would do a show on it. You know, make it the highlight of the show. And that is this. This new email scam is based on the idea that there are people who've had their email address, their password, and their name compromised on websites that have been hacked. For instance, the Linux Mint site. Now, you know I'm a big fan of Linux Mint. I really love it. It's my favorite Linux distro for the desktop or for the laptop. I even use it, as I mentioned before, for my server that's running the radio stations, the internet radio stations that I host here at my lab, and it works great for that as well. But it's not really designed totally to be a server distribution. So a good server distribution would be either Ubuntu server, which is what I tend to use if I'm using a server, or historically I used to use Red Hat / CentOS. I say / CentOS because CentOS is simply the Red Hat distribution with all the Red Hat labeling and stuff taken out because it is open source. And then they just slap the CentOS name on it, and it's basically the same thing as Red Hat. I mean, in every way, everything that works on Red Hat will work on CentOS because it's the same thing. So I've run a lot of servers running Red Hat and or CentOS, and actually ran an entire online business with a shopping cart, and I ran my DNS, and I ran all my infrastructure and my file servers and everything on CentOS Linux. I had several Linux servers running that, and the LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and of course Linux, it's running on Linux. So that would be LAMP, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Yes, thank you. PHP. My wife's over there keeping me straight because that's what she does. That's her job, which is a full-time job, actually. But anyway, so there you go. The lamp stack is what I used when I was running CentOS, and actually, I still use a lot of the lamp stack. I just call it WAMP because it's running on Windows instead of Linux to run the radio stations. And you might say, yeah, but Dr. Bill, you said it was running on Mint, Linux Mint, so how can that be? Well, it's because that's the underlying operating system running VirtualBox, which then runs Windows servers on top of that. Just to be complicated. I like the complexity of the technology. Okay, so, I fully digressed now. Let's get back to the topic, and that is this. The Linux Mint site got compromised. Well, obviously, I have a login on the Linux Mint site because that's where I get Linux Mint. I check out the forums, there to do support for Linux Mint and so forth. So, they got compromised, okay? Now, they did the right thing. They announced it to the press. They announced it to the interwebs community. And they announced it to their users. They sent out a thing saying, quick, change your password. Well, of course, I immediately changed my password. The password I was using on that site was not my main password anyway, because you shouldn't use your main password when you're signing into just a random website out there. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think any more about it. I thought, well, there you go. What they've got my name, they got my email address. I already give that out right here on the web, so no big deal. And they have my old password, which is, recognizable to me, even though I'm not using it anywhere else. So there you go. So I thought, okay, end of story. Well, here's where the new scam comes in. This is kind of cool in a weird way. And that's this. I get an email. Here's the email. Okay. Now you got to hold on before we go any further. This email is written in English. Okay. That's my little word I use to denote that whoever wrote this, English was not their first language, okay? And they made some really interesting, mistakes and uses of language that make it very funny in a way, even though it's a very serious letter for most people that read it. But we'll get to that in a minute. So here's the letter. It says, I know that a word that was my password, and it was my correct password on the Linux Mint site, is your passphrase. Let's get right to purpose. Now, he could have said, let's get right to the purpose of this email. That would have at least been more or less correct, but no, he said, let's get right to purpose, period. Okay. No one has compensated me to check about you. You may not know me, and you're probably thinking, why you're getting this email. In fact, I set up a malware on the 18+ streaming sexually graphic website, and there's more. You visited this website to have fun. You know what I mean, period. Okay. When you were watching video clips, your browser initiated functioning as an RDP with a keylogger, which provided me accessibility to your display and cam. Now, we'll talk about that more in just a minute. Right after that, my software collected all your contacts from your Messenger, Facebook, and email, and then created a double video. First part shows the video you're watching. You've got nice taste, by the way. And next part displays the view of your cam, and it's you. Not you, but you, the letter U. Okay. Now, he goes on to say, you actually have two different options. We're going to go through these choices in particulars. In particulars. Okay. First choice is just ignore this email. In this case, I'm going to send your very own recorded material to all your personal contacts and also visualize concerning the shame you will get. Visualize concerning the shame you will get. Right. And as consequence, if you happen to be in a romantic relationship, precisely how is it going to affect? ? In the second place choice should be to give me $3,000 US. Let's call it a donation. In this scenario, I most likely will, without delay, discard your video. Most likely will. Okay. You could keep going everyday life like this never happened, and you will not ever hear back again from me. Now, I think what he meant to say there was, if you send me the $3,000, I'll throw away the video and you'll never hear from me again. But that's not what he said. He said all this English. Anyway, if you will make the payment through Bitcoin, if you don't know this, search for, quote, how to buy Bitcoin, unquote, and in Google search engine, not with the Google search engine or using the Google search engine, but in Google search engine. BTC address, and then there's an address, which I won't give out, okay? And he says, case sensitive, copy and paste it. Now, I think it's interesting that of all the other English, this is the section that is the most accurate. The part where he wants to get paid, okay? If you may be thinking of going to the cop, okay, this email cannot be traced back to me. I have covered my moves. I am also not looking to ask you for money very much. I wish to be paid for. Period. I have a special pixel in this email. And right now I know that you've read through this email message. You now have 1 day to pay. If I don't get the Bitcoins, I will send out your video to all of your contacts, including friends and family, colleagues, and many others. However, if I receive the payment, I will erase the recording right away. This is the non-negotiable offer. Therefore, please don't waste mine time and yours by replying to this email message. If you want evidence, reply yup. Reply yup, exclamation point, and I will definitely send out your video recording to your contacts. Right. Okay, let's back up now. There's several things about this that are interesting. First of all, yes, I had information that was compromised. Yes, he had a real old password of mine that was legitimately my old password on the Linux Mint site, which lends it some credibility, okay? Secondly, the business he talks about putting a pixel in an email message so that when you open it, read it, he knows you've read it. That can be a real thing, okay? And if you're computer savvy, then that's actually an issue. That's why, now listen closely, that's why it's always best to view your email through a client that does not, listen closely, automatically display the photograph, the image, the embedded image, or any pixels that might be in it automatically. Now, this one little pixel would be invisible to you, but once it's read, quote read, by the client, it can in fact report back that, yes, you have read the message, even though you didn't okay a read receipt, okay? So that's a legitimate thing. However, I don't use an email client that allows for these little bits to be read. See, his problems are multitude in this whole scam, but here's a couple right off the bat. First of all, I don't frequent porn sites. Okay, so I knew that part was wrong. Secondly, I have a webcam on my laptop, but I don't use my laptop all that often, and when I do, you know that I have a Geek Software of the Week, which turns off the webcam. The only time I have a webcam on is if I'm recording a show like this. Okay? So, no webcam, all right? Then, on top of all of that, this is information that's easily purchasable, if that's a word, off of the dark web. Once your stuff has been compromised, it goes into these like spreadsheets that can be purchased for very little on the dark web from these exploits. Some of these guys that do these exploits even post them publicly for everyone to see, which is why you should immediately change your password if you've had anything compromised, because that way the information they've gotten can't be used at all, okay? Now, obviously, if that information included, you know, credit card numbers and all that kind of information, then that's another story. But in this case, I happen to know that the Linux Mint website where he got this password, I never gave them a credit card. They're open source. They don't accept payments for things. I don't use my credit card there at all. And of course, they even said when they announced the exploit that no credit card information was procured anyway. So there you go. So let's go through this. I've already talked about some of these points. I use an email client that is online, in other words, web-based, and does not automatically display graphics, so there's no way he could register a display of a single bit. And then you might say, Dr. Bill, aren't you afraid that somebody could take that video footage from one of your shows and splice it in with some porn footage and make it look like you're watching videos? Well, duh, they could do that anyway. They could take this very video that I'm doing right now, which would be very odd because I don't look like I'm watching a porn video at all. But anyway, you could take a video and you could splice it into some porn as a split screen and you could send that out, and that would just be somebody being a knucklehead, okay? That's not me. I just don't do that kind of thing. But let's keep going. All right. A lot of people would be tempted to just pay off the $3,000. This is my concern. This is why I want to bring this up and actually talk about this in extensive detail, and that is there are enough people that are concerned about their online reputation. They even pay people to, build their reputation online that would freak out so much over getting an email like this with legitimate information in it that they might say, dude, $3,000 is not that much to pay for my reputation. If he'd asked for $50,000, $100,000, $500,000, you'd go, whoa, I can't pay that. But $3,000, okay, maybe somebody would scrape that together and try to pay him. But see, if you pay him, if you even respond, then he knows he's got a live one, right? And he could charge you again, jack up the price. He could do all kinds of things. Best thing to do is delete the message, all right, which is what I did, other than copying it for this article. Now, it's a sad thing that a lot of people will fall for this. I'm sure they are falling for this. And they will send the money. And then they'll sit around and they'll sweat and they'll think, are they going to put out this video? Are my friends and family and my little old grandma going to see me? Well, here's the thing. Like I said, anybody can take any compilation of video, make it look like you're doing any number of things. You can Photoshop people to do all kinds of stuff in, images. You can splice video together. You can do all kinds of stuff. But people that know you. They know who you are. They know you're not the kind of person that's going to sit around salivating over watching a video and video yourself doing it. I mean, how dumb is that? See, I just became a victim of my camera stopping because it was such a long recording. I had to restart it. See, that's the whole business I was talking about breaking it up, except that when you use the Canon SL2, it stops at the end of 30 minutes of recording, and you have to restart it manually. And you may say, Dr. Bill, why does Canon do that? They do that because the European Union came out with a law that said that a quote-unquote inexpensive, this is not an inexpensive camera, I'll tell you that, but from their perspective, an inexpensive camera should not be allowed to make long videos. So they arbitrarily said it's got to stop at 30 minutes. That's what it did. Don't you just love government? No, we don't. But there you go. That's why it's... But it's okay. We're moving on. All right. So, I wrote this article, and I did this video as a lesson to you all. Don't fall for this. Because if you fall for it, it encourages the knuckleheads out there. I use the term knucklehead as the best phrase I can come up with that is calm and normal, that I could use. So these guys will be encouraged if you send them an email, obviously, if you send them money, any of these things. Now, here's the other little interesting tidbit here. He wants you to send Bitcoin because he says it can't be traced. Guess what, guys? Bitcoin is an electronic transaction. It's easier to trace Bitcoin than cold, hard cash. Yes. So, my question at the end of this article to this guy that wrote this email is, how do you know I'm not tracing you? Of course, I didn't send him any money, but you get the idea. In other words, it's not safe to rely on Bitcoin to protect your anonymity. There's a word for you. Your anonymity online. I don't want to say it too many times. It'll become anonymity. Like a CNN. So there you go. That's what I wanted to talk about, and I talked about it. Okay. Other articles here on the blog very quickly. We have a Geek Project of the Week. Geek Project of the Week instead of a Geek Software of the Week, so there's no drum roll, Fred. No drum roll. Okay. He's doing okay today. All right. Geek Project, installing Linux on your Chromebook with Crostini. Crostini, Crostini. It's a new thing that they have come out with from Google that will allow you to install Linux directly onto your Chromebook. It's not production yet. It's still in the development channel. But if you want to go to the development channel, you can, in fact, do that and actually have a real, true operating system version of Linux on your Chromebook. Only certain Chromebooks will work. Now, it just so happens that one of the Chromebooks that it would work with is my newer Chromebook Flip, Acer Chromebook Flip. But I use it as a Chromebook. I don't need Linux to run on it, so I'm not going to do that. That's why I'm not demoing it, okay? But I am making you aware that it is available. This is an article by our good friend Stephen J. Von Nichols, and so you know it's going to be a good one. All right, so check that out. That is truly worthwhile. The other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about, actually it's not going to be quickly. Like I said, it's going to be a long show. This is ZDNet's 50 Years of Tech. ZDNet's 50 Years of Tech. I'm going to go through this quickly. Read the article. As a matter of fact, go ahead and click on the link that I have in the blog, drbill.tv, and read the article and see the pictures that are with it and check out the also rans. Okay, because some of the second and tertiary tech from these various years, to me, is of greater importance than the ones that quote won, for that year, okay? So, 50 years of tech, going back to 1968, the launch of Apollo 8, okay? True, big deal, no question, but the next year, 1969, what won out was smoke detectors for home use. Folks, 1969 is when we walked on the moon. Okay? That's what would win out. But I'm sure whoever wrote this article, they certainly weren't as old as I am. Okay? They're probably some young whippersnapper. He doesn't even know we went to the moon. So there you go. Anyway, he said smoke detectors for home use. Now, yes, I understand that smoke detectors save thousands and hundreds of thousands of lives each year, and it's an important technology, and kudos to smoke detectors. I'm not against them, whatever, but that being the 1969 big tech deal, come on, guys. Okay, in the 1970, the Canon Pocketronic calculator. This was during the time frame that everybody was into calculators. I myself, see, this was a time I was alive and kicking and doing stuff. I wasn't like a tiny little infant. I was an older, kid in this time frame. Because I was born in 55, so by 68, 69, I would have been 14-ish, 15-ish time frame. Okay, so I got into calculators. I carried around calculators. Great, big, dumb, ugly ones that look like bricks. Yes. So that's 1970. 1971, the Intel 404 microprocessor. Cool. You could actually build your own computers, precursors of computers with these chips. 1972, Pong. Pong was a game that I could play. You know, didn't involve a lot of gray matter up here and plotting and strategy. You just bounced the ball back and forth. That was my speed. I liked it. So I played Pong. All right, 1973, the first cell phone call. Think about it. The first cell phone call. I have a cell phone in my pocket. In my pocket. I always say, where's my cell phone? I actually know where it is now. It's in my pocket. And the case in my pocket, as a matter of fact. But anyway, we're not talking about a cell phone like this one. We're talking about a great old big giant phone, a bag phone. So that was the first cell phone call. All right, 1974, that's when I graduated from high school. Okay, 1974, the first commercial barcode scan. Now there's a banner year for you. The first commercial barcode scan. In a Marsh supermarket, Sharon Buchanan took a pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit gum from Clyde Dawson and ran it through the barcode scanner. I'm sure they were excited at the time. They were making history, but okay. 1975, the Altair 8800. Another kit offered to geeky hobbyists like me who were building computers. We could have given the award to the Betamax. I can see why they didn't do that. But anyway, the Altair didn't just usher in the personal computer business, it also gave birth to Microsoft. It was Bill Gates and Paul Allen who wrote the original basic interpreter for the 8800 and went on to create Microsoft. You know the story. Yes, we do. Wow. All right, 1976, the Apple Computer Company, founded in a garage by Steve Jobs and Woz. Yes, good old Woz. He's still out there kicking. Gotta love Woz. All right, but anyway, they founded, Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs, they founded the Apple Company. And then, of course, Ronald Wayne, good old Ronald Wayne, he was a part of the company, helped found Apple, but he said this will never go anywhere, so he sold his part of the company back to them for $800 and has since kicked himself every single day of the rest of his life. Whoa. Anyway, that's terrible. 1977, the Apple II came out. It changed the face of personal computing, and it had software like VisiCalc, the first commercial spreadsheet program. Wow. 1978, now this one's near and dear to my heart, the first bulletin board system, BBS. I was big into BBSs. I ran a bulletin board called the Billboard. Now, if you're back in this time frame, you might remember the Billboard, particularly the early 80s. We were really big in the early 80s. I had 2 lines running into my house, especially for nothing but the bulletin board system. And people played trade wars against each other on the bulletin board. This was pre the internet, folks. And then pre the World Wide Web, wasn't pre the internet, but pre the World Wide Web, right? All right, and when we finally got a connection to the interwebs, not the web part, but the internet part, for listservs and for all of those kinds of things, I actually connected the Billboard to it. Now, here's my story of kicking myself, okay? It was called the Billboard because Bill, me, bulletin board, it was called the Billboard. And people knew it, and it was well known. So there you go. But when I connected it to the internet, I decided to register a domain name. Well, this was back before people were registering domain names. There was any domain name you wanted, you could have, okay? So I figured billboard.com, right? Well, guess what? It was available. I could have registered it. But the guy that I was talking to said, oh, wait, no. You don't want to register billboard.com. .com is out of step. It's going away. Nobody's going to use .com anymore. they're going to use city.state.us. That's the new thing. Everybody's going to that. So you want to register billboard.greensboro.nc.us. And he was very convincing. So that's what I registered. I could have had billboard.com. Now imagine, if you will, later on down the road, when Billboard magazine said, wouldn't it be great to have our own website? What I could have sold that for. So I get to kick myself too, okay? Oh well. And no, the .us really didn't catch on that well. It's still out there, and I have a few, but wasn't a big deal. All right. 1979, the Sony Walkman. I did not have one of those. I just never got into that. I had cassette players. I had other things. I didn't have a Walkman. So there you go. 1980, Tim Berners-Lee. Back when he was just Tim Berners-Lee, not Sir Tim Berners-Lee. He got knighted later. But no, when he was Tim Berners-Lee, he created an early web prototype called Inquire. And 1980's Innovation of the Year was a failed project. Inquire was a project developed in 1980 by Tim Berners-Lee while he was at CERN, and in many ways was considered a concept prototype for the web. It was a cross between a hypercard and a wiki and required central maintenance. It was his first use of hypertext for group communication. And that's the germ of where he got the idea for the World Wide Web, which he invented. It wasn't Al Gore. I know you're saying Al Gore invented the internet, not the World Wide Web. Well, he didn't do that either. Sorry. But anyway, talk to Vint Cerf and some of the guys that were actually there when the internet was created in the 60s. Al Gore wasn't there, no. Anyway, Tim Berners-Lee, early web prototype. 1981, IBM PC and MS-DOS. This I was right in the middle of. I had a TI professional computer pre this year of 81, and the IBM PC was just a glint in their eye at IBM. And I was running the TI professional computer, which was actually way more advanced than the IBM PC. Had color graphics and all kinds of stuff way before the IBM PC did. But guess who won out? Yeah, the big dog, IBM. So there you go. 1982, the Commodore 64. This was a big deal. It was the story that Commodore 64 introduced to the world at $595. About a third of the cost of the Apple II at the time, and well less, way less than an IBM PC. And at one point, the Guinness Book of World Records listed the C64 as the best-selling computer of all time. Cool. 1983, Lotus 123. Remember I talked about VisiCalc being a big deal as a spreadsheet for the Apple? Well, Lotus 123 became the de facto spreadsheet for the IBM PC, and it became what was called the first killer app. The term killer app came about because of Lotus 123. 1984, the Macintosh came out. Big, huge deal. Had icons. People were like, whoa, this is cool. When actually Steve Jobs stole the idea from Xerox. He saw a demo of it and went, dude, we got to steal that, which he did. 1985, the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, came out. It was the same year of 2400 baud modems and the Amiga 1000. Okay? Wow. 1986, the first automated listserv. I was talking about listservs for the bulletin board systems. Well, it became part of the internet. It became automated listservs where you could send out spam. This was literally the beginning of spam. I'm sure you're going, yay. Okay. 1987, the HyperCard. Apple's HyperCard caused a huge buzz when it was created because it was doing the whole multimedia clickable links thing on Apple's and became a huge deal. Now, it didn't live very long. It died out, but it started some really big things like, oh, I don't know, the World Wide Web. Wow. 1988, Photoshop came out. You couldn't be Photoshopped. Before 1988, you could be imaged. You could be tweaked, but it wouldn't have been called photoshopping because Photoshop wasn't out yet. 1988, wow. That's the year we got married, 1988. Wow. 1989, launch of the first GPS satellite. Big deal. I remember when this happened. It was like, wow, we're going to put up satellites, and you're going to be able to know where people are anywhere in the world. You know, and now it's built into our phones. People know where you are all the time. That ought to make you happy. All right, 1990, the World Wide Web, the first web browser. Yay! Okay, this was the day of Mosaic and other web browsers that were a big deal. At the time, I was in the corporate world, and they actually gave me the title at about 1994 time frame, I think it was, somewhere right in there, of email and internet consultant. That was my title. Dude, I had internet in my actual job title. I was so excited. Anyway, I got to recommend the entire, what was going to be the web browser, the default web browser for our entire corporation, which was a huge corporation. It's called Ciba-Geigy. It later became Syngenta. May have heard of either one of those. But I got to recommend the web browser for the entire company, okay? And I chose Netscape Navigator, okay, which was an outgrowth of Mozilla, one of the first web browsers, because this was way before Internet Explorer even was thought of by Bill Gates. Bill Gates at this time didn't think the interwebs were going to be a thing at all. He was like, well, yeah, we don't want to fool with this. Shows you what he knows. All right, 1991, Linux. Yes, Linux. Good old Linux came out. Yes. And I was there too. I was there on a listserv when Linus Torvalds posted an email that says, hey guys, I'm creating a new operating system. I'm going to call it Linux after myself, Linus Torvalds. And I said, send it to me. I want to play with it. And that's what I did. 1991, that year, I was smack in the middle of Linux. Wow. 1992, the first SMS text message. This message went out December 3rd, 1992 from engineer Neil Papworth. He sent a message that was simply Merry Christmas in all caps. And that was the first text message. Wow. There's been a lot more since then. 1993, the Mosaic web browser. We're finally getting to Mosaic. I knew we were a little premature before. I said it led to Mosaic. 1993, Mosaic web browser was created by a bunch of grad students at the National Center for Supercomputing, NCSA. All right, so that became Netscape, which I later recommended. Okay, so we're talking later on. 1994, Amazon was founded. Now, this would actually surprise me. I thought Amazon goes all the way back to 1994? Wow. So that was a surprise to me, but there you go. 1995, Windows 95 and IE 1.0. Wow. So Bill Gates finally saw the light and decided, you know, we need to be on this internet thing. 1996, the Pilot handheld. This was met with much fanfare, and everybody thought it was the next big thing, and it wasn't. Okay. 1997, Steve Jobs returned to Apple. Wow. That was a big deal. I remember that. 1998, Google was founded. Now, this is wild. See, before this, I was on the web, and I was building websites, and I was doing web searches, but I was using Alta Vista. Any of you remember Alta Vista? Yes. That was the search engine of note. And then along came Ask Jeeves, which later became Ask.com, and which is still around. And then, of course, Google came around and everybody said, forget all these other search engines. We'll just Google it. All right, 1999. We launched into space and the moon broke away from the Earth. No, wait, that's a TV show. 1999. No. Space 1999. I really thought that was a cool show at the time. It came out way before 1999. Anyway, 1999 was the Apple Airport. The airport, in other words, Wi-Fi. This was back before Wi-Fi was a big thing and airport was a big thing. Everybody was like, you could do it wirelessly? So that was big. All right, 2000, Google AdWords. Yes, it actually won out as the thing because Google's ad revenue by 2017 through AdWords was $100 billion. Wow. So yeah, it makes the list. 2001, the Apple iPod started a whole industry. I know the iPod's kind of faded out now in favor of the iPhone and phones, but it was a big deal at the time. All right, 2002, the Tor project, the Onion Router, Tor, T-O-R. That helped us remain secure and away from the prying eyes of governments everywhere. Yes, indeed. 2003, Android was founded. Wow. Think about that. 2003. 2004, Facebook was founded. Wow. I mean, Facebook is just ubiquitous now, but it was founded in 2004. 2005, YouTube was founded. Now, 2005 is the year that I started the drbill.tv blog. 2005. Now, I wasn't doing videos back then. It was just a blog. And I was doing audio programs like this. Instead of video, it was audio. But I started in 2005, same year that YouTube was founded. Wow. Pretty cool. 2006, Twitter was founded. 140 characters, and you can hashtag things. 2008, Airbnb came out, which I've never used, but it's cool. 2009, the Fitbit tracker, which I've never used as well, but is cool. 2010, the iPad. I have an iPad. It's in the back. It's run out of power, but it's there. Okay, an iPad, and then here we go, 2011, the Chromebook. Now we're talking. I got a lot of Chromebooks. Yes, I'm a great believer in Chromebooks because Chrome is Linux. It actually is. So if you're using a Chromebook, you're actually using Linux, which means we've won. You have been assimilated. Okay, there you go. 2012, the Raspberry Pi. I actually bought one that year. It's right back there in a box. I've never done anything with it, but it's there. The original Raspberry Pi, 2012. 2013, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Wow. The Game Master is very happy about that. 2014, Satya Nadella and Windows 10. Windows 10 came out. 2015, the Amazon Echo and the Alexa. There she is. She woke up. Ecosystem, as it says. It's okay. Don't flash at me. But yes, the voice-based personal assistant. We got the very first version of the Echo, and I don't want to use the keyword, and we had to actually petition them for the right to purchase it. That's how early we're talking. All right, 2016, the Pokemon Go game. And everybody was talking about finding Pokemon behind bushes. All kinds of places. Police stations, they find Pokemon. Police were not happy. But anyway, 2017, the Game Master was so excited, the Nintendo Switch came out. And he's still thrilled with that. Because the Switch is his favorite platform, bar none, altogether. And he'll sit down and tell you all about it. Okay? And then, of course, this year, 2018, we don't know what the big deal is going to be this year. We're still halfway through the year. But I'm sure it's going to be cool, whatever it is. So there you go. 50 years. I told you it was going to be a long show. 50 years of tech. Yes. Now, speaking of something that happened quasi-recently, 2017, January of 2017, a new website started called BitChute. B-I-T-C-H-U-T-E. Okay? You say, what's BitChute? Why do I care? It's an alternative to YouTube. The guy wrote it and came up with it because YouTube was censoring people and throwing them off YouTube and that kind of thing. And he said, I want to create a website you can post videos, and I'm not going to care what you put on there at all, no matter what. Free speech. Which means there's a lot of junk out there. But there's also good stuff because it's free speech. All right, and it's free to post your videos. And one of our fearless fans of this very show, Lonnie Best, introduced me to BitChute. He said, hey, Dr. Bill, check it out. And sure enough, it was founded by Ray Vahe. He described it as a way to avoid censorship and demonetization by established services like YouTube. The first video on BitChute was posted on January 3rd, 2017. And it was called, this is the first video on BitChute. Good name, I like that. It was a sample video of a woman using a tablet. The video was uploaded to test the uploading process. All right, and in 2018, the site was redesigned and got a brand new logo. 2018, that's this year. So I was fairly impressed with it. It uses BitTorrent technology, and I like BitTorrent. So I wanted to encourage them. So I went ahead and started putting my videos there as well. So they're still on YouTube, but they're also on BitChute, so check that out. All right, the Commodore Mini 64 is a thing. It's going to be coming out on October the 9th in North America. It's already available in other places around the world, but it's going to have preloaded 64 classic games on the C64, such as Jumpman, Pit Stop 2, Speedball 2, Brutal Deluxe, Street Sports Baseball, etc. It has USB ports, 2 USB ports. For joysticks, it has customized visuals. It will output at 720p, which, you know, for a Commodore is pretty cool. Retro computing, plug in a USB keyboard and use it as a fully functional home computer with C64 Basic. Wow. Unlike the original, you can save your progress in games. Innovative, yes. And update ready. It supports software updates via USB flash drive, so you have access to improved and enhanced programming. There's a video right on the blog, drbill.tv. Check that out. I'm trying to hurry. Windows 10 recent bug fixes. Go get your bug fixes. You can read all about it on the blog. I'm not going to go into it. And then finally, last item. I know it's been a long show. I'm sorry. Last item, the Geek website of the week. We rarely have one of these. We call it the Geek website of the week, but we don't do it every week. And that is this really interesting website. It's called whatismybrowser.com. Whatismybrowser.com. Okay? You say, look, I know what browser I'm running. Why do I care? Because if you go there, it will tell you if your browser is up to date. We were talking about security earlier. This is a good way to be sure you are secure. Also, what do you have enabled in your browser? Do you have Java enabled? Do you have other things enabled? It will tell you there. You know, who are you? What address are you coming from? Those kinds of things. All available on whatismybrowser.com. And if your web browser isn't up to date, it will tell you how to update it right there on whatismybrowser.com. So it is useful. Yes. So stay up to date. It has guides to update all web browsers. Cool. Security for you. And that'll do it for this week. I know it's been a long show. Break it up into bite-sized bits, okay? But I had to get all that out because I had all of this. This all happened in 1 week. Wow. So there you go. Okay, my camera stopped once more. So that means it's an over an hour show. What am I, Leo Laporte? Yeesh. Anyway, just breaking back in to end the show. Remember until next time that the doctor is out of here.
Dr. Bill, the Computer Curmudgeon, is a production of DrBillDaily.net with all the honors, rights, and privileges thereunto appertaining.